First tea, first thing in the morning. Oh, it's not even 6 o'clock. It's not even 5:30 yet. And I'm out in the backyard on July 2nd. Oh yeah. I actually did not make a Canada Day video. I didn't. For the first time in years, I actually skipped that. So I'm making a post-Canada Day video instead. Belated Happy Canada Day, everybody. It's July 2nd, and I'm about to go back to work, and there's a mosquito flying around my head. Yeah. And you can hear the birds in the background. I hope you can hear the birds. It's very soothing. It's very relaxing. I want to talk about Canada, though, and the recent threats. Damn mosquitoes. The recent threats from the American Empire. Good old Diaper Donnie has been talking about annexation, about taking our country. And many of his maggots have been talking about taking our country, about making Canada the 51st state. And they've said very clearly, we don't want the people. We don't want the people. We just want the resources. We want the water. We want the iron. We want the uranium. We want the nickel, the zinc. We want the oil. Oh, we want the oil. Yeah, we want the lumber. We want the wheat. We want the soybeans. We want the potash. We don't really need the people. We don't really need the people. So what does that really mean for Canada? Well, it means that our immediate southern neighbor is a very real threat to us, and they always have been. But they're a threat that we have, until now, always treated as not a real threat. They'd never do that. Well, I got news for you. They've wanted to do that for a long, long time. And now, they're getting brave about it. They've forgotten the lesson that we taught them the last time they invaded. And we beat the ever-living shit out of their army and sent them packing, and then burned down their presidential palace. Yeah, we did that. And they like to say, oh, historically it was the British Empire that did it, not the Canadians. Well, who were the Canadian militia? The Loyalist militia. The Canadian-born farmers. British subjects, all of them. The Canadian farmers, the peasants. The natives, the Mohawk and the Ojibwe, who marched alongside of the very tiny nucleus of regular British soldiers, beefing up the army and making it into something actually usable, as opposed to just a ceremonial force. Yeah. It was Canadians. It was Canadian militia, irregular infantry, who did the bulk of the fighting, who made up the bulk of that British army defending Canada from the American invaders. And that was 200 years ago, and apparently the Americans haven't learned a goddamn thing since. Because they're talking about Canada as a 51st state, or as a territory. Kind of like Puerto Rico. Yeah. Or maybe just as a resource extraction area, like Venezuela or El Salvador or the Philippines, where the women are required to do brothel duty until they're 15, and where the men are required to labor in the mines and on the plantations until they die. Yeah. Got a mosquito again. Yeah, the mosquitoes are quite aggressive this time in the morning. Yeah. Yeah. I want to remind those Americans who believe that Canada should be the 51st state, or a territory, or a resource area for the American Empire. And remind you you maggot bastards, that you and your orange messiah can go fuck yourselves. Yeah. You and your manifest destiny have no place in Canada. Because Canada is its own country, and we are a real country, and we will defend that real country. We Canadians. Canadians named Smith and Canadians named MacDonald, alongside of Canadians named Singh, and Canadians named Takeshi, and Canadians named Rajid, will all defend this country. We will defend this country. We will fight. If pushed on the matter, we will fight. And yes, I just turned 60 a few days ago. I am old, I am worn out, I am tired. But if push comes to shove, yes, I own a rifle, and I'm quite prepared to fight, to defend my country. Because this is Canada. This is our country. And as I've said before, it is an imperfect country. It is a flawed country. It is a country ever working to make itself a little better today than it was yesterday. Which is one thing that makes us different from the Americans, because the Americans operate on the assumption that their country has already achieved perfection. Little hint, it hasn't. But they operate under that particular delusion, that perfection has already been achieved, so why try harder? Yeah. Yeah. Made in the North. Canada. And that's the thing, is when you believe that you have already achieved perfection and you don't need to try anymore, you end up slipping back down into the abyss of tyranny, oppression, misery, and injustice, which the American Empire has done in spades. But the Americans do have the most powerful propaganda engine in history, Hollywood. And Hollywood has convinced them that they are free. Hollywood has convinced people who live in trailers and struggle to buy groceries that they are temporarily embarrassed millionaires. Yeah. It has convinced people who have to send their daughter into their supervisor's office to give their supervisor a blowjob in order to keep their job. Yeah. Convinced them that they live in the most perfect society in the world. Unrestricted capitalism. Yeah. Where, yeah, if you're a low-level worker, you'd better be ready to pimp out your kids to your superiors, because that might be the price of keeping your job and avoiding becoming yet another homelessness statistic. Yeah. Hollywood has convinced the Americans that they are free and that they are the best country in the world and that they don't need public health care. That somehow public health care is a bad thing and that they're much better off with medical bankruptcy and losing their homes and being forced to live on the street while their untreated cancer slowly kills them because they cannot get the health care that they need to survive. And their health has declined to the point where they can no longer work, and they've run out of money. Yes, they've run out of money. And this is a very real phenomenon down there. People who run out of money during their medical treatment, and so the hospital just says, yeah, okay, you're done. Go, leave, go home. That's the freedom that Americans enjoy, and that's the freedom that the Alberta separatists and the Conservative Party want the rest of us to have here in Canada. Pierre Poilievre and his masters and handlers in Mar-a-Lago and in Langley, Virginia, Daniel Smith and her handlers in Mar-a-Lago. Yeah. They want to sell us the idea that we don't need public health care. We don't need labor unions. We don't need health and safety standards. That we should just do what the Americans are doing. We should join the Americans. We should be the 51st state. And we should live in the same state of class segregation that they do, and we should have racial segregation like they do. Do you remember how I listed the names of some of the people that'll be fighting for this country? And I remembered to list Takeshi, Singh, and Rashid. Well, you can just add Two Feather to that one, and Keobamba to that one, as well as Sanchez and Parvati and Ling Lao Fong and O'Connell and Schulenburg and Mazursky. You can add all those names. And you can add Taiyang to those names. And those are the names of Canadians. Loyalist, patriotic Canadians who understand that, yes, Canada is an imperfect country, but we have public health care. We have universal we're getting better public health care. It will improve over time. It is improving. We've moved up to the point where we now have public dental care as well as regular public health care. We've moved up to the point where we are talking about universal pharmaceutical access, where all medications are free at the point of sale. And yes, I do agree that it is bought and paid for. It is paid for, but we don't have wealthy insurance companies standing and gatekeeping your health care. We have public health care. And we don't have the spectacular markups on pharmaceuticals that the Americans have either. We do have mosquitoes, though. The little bastards are all over the place. We have a lot of mosquitoes out this morning. Yeah. So, anywho, Canada. This is our country. This is Canada. The Alberta separatist movement is driven by American influence, American control, American propaganda, and American direction and instruction. There's a name for that, and that name is treason. And Daniel Smith is actively committing treason, and Pierre Poilievre is actively committing treason. And their American handlers are providing propaganda online accusing the liberals of being communists, and accusing the liberals of being, Muslims, because that's the latest boogeyman. Yeah. And accusing them of being secretly transgender people. Yeah. American propaganda is powerful in this country. And it's being used to undermine this country. And when you look at all the anti-Canadian propaganda that's floating around in this country, just remember that it comes from one source. Langley, Virginia, home of the CIA. And while it may come through Moscow and it may come through Tel Aviv, it ultimately originates in Langley, Virginia, home of the CIA, where they have been working to make Manifest Destiny a little easier for a very long time. And they want Canada. They are hungry. And they've got puppet presidents, puppet El Presidentes in El Salvador, Nicaragua, Guatemala, Panama, Venezuela, Argentina. They have their puppet El Presidentes everywhere. They've got a puppet El Presidente in the former Iraq. And they have two of them in the former Libya. Yeah. And they've installed one in Syria. Yeah. Yeah. Of course, they've got their own puppet El Presidente, who's being controlled out of Moscow, but that's another story. Yeah. Yeah. And they want to install an El Presidente here in Canada. And as a Canadian, I just want to say, fuck you. This is Canada. We don't have an El Presidente here. And we're never going to have one. And it is starting to rain. Yeah, it is starting to rain. But yeah. Belated Happy Canada Day. Remember that you are Canadian. And I don't care what your last name is. If you were born in this country, you're a Canadian. Unless, of course, you're one of those wannabe American Maple MAGAs, in which case you know where the fucking border is. Leave. Because this is Canada. This is Canada. And I want to extend to all of my fellow Canadians, whether you are atheist or Anglican or Seventh-day Adventist, whether you are Jewish or Muslim or Sikh or Hindu or Buddhist or Zoroastrian, whether you are Wiccan, whether you are Shinto or Taoist, whether you are any of those religions, I don't care. You can be Catholic, Protestant, Greek and Russian Orthodox. You can be Coptic. You can be Nestorian. Absolutely. You can be a Twelver of the Shia. Or you can be from the Sunni Triangle in the former Iraq. If you call yourself a Canadian, you consider yourself a Canadian, you believe in Canada and the values of this Canada, which are self-improvement, looking out for each other, compassion, humanity and humility, humanitarianism, a healthy self-respect and a healthy respect for one's fellow human beings, and a tendency to treat firearms not so much as a penis extension, but as a tool to be used for a specific purpose, and when not being used is put away somewhere where you don't need to see it all the time, because, yeah, it's like a gun. A gun is like a penis. It's private. It's personal. I keep mine tucked away where it's not going to be around kids. Yeah. But if you're a Canadian and you're just off the boat and you're here in Canada, welcome to Canada, eh? And if you've been here in this country for generations and generations, and you've got ancestors who choked on their own puke at the Battle of Ypres and who crawled through the mud at the Somme, welcome to Canada, eh? Yeah. Yeah. As long as they were doing that wearing a Canadian uniform, you're a Canadian. And I don't care that you wear a turban or a kifan. I don't care that you wear one of those kippah prayer hats. I don't care if you wear the Islamic equivalent, whatever it is, the little prayer hats they wear. I don't care. Welcome to Canada. You're a Canadian. This is Canada. This is Canada. And it's going to stay Canada. And if your name is Singh, if your name is Rashid, if your name is Goldberg, and you are a Canadian and you think of yourself as a Canadian first and foremost, you are a Canadian. Welcome to Canada. Absolutely. Welcome to Canada, eh? Yeah. And if you're an American tourist who wants to visit this country and see what a reasonable country looks like, welcome to Canada. It's Canada. It's its own country. We are Canadians. I am being swarmed by mosquitoes. It rained a little bit, not enough. We have had a bloody heat wave. It has been brutally hot. Yeah. If you are from any country in the world and you are visiting this country, welcome to Canada. Try the poutine. Try the beer. Absolutely try the beer. Yeah. Absolutely. This is a great country. Yeah. And if you're living in this country, whether as a temporary foreign worker or as an immigrant, recent immigrant, welcome to Canada. Please look into remembering our labor laws and making sure that you don't get exploited unjustly by... Oh, I got a mosquito. Making sure you're not unjustly exploited by a corrupt employer who may be a Maple MAGA. Yeah. And if your ancestors have lived here long enough that you've got at least one relative who bled on a major World War I battlefield, or even a major World War II battlefield, you have an ancestor who bled on one of those places while wearing a Canadian uniform, you're a Canadian. Welcome to Canada. Eh? Yeah. And yes, Canada did have Sikhs, Hindus, and Muslims in the Canadian military in both world wars. We had them. They were here. They have been a part of this country since the beginning. Yeah. 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 Welcome to Canada. Eh? Yeah. And if you're thinking about coming here to invade, conquer, and rule over us, well, I suggest you stay down in Texas or Oklahoma or Florida or wherever it is you live. Stay there and don't come up here. And if you do come up here, come as a tourist and leave your guns at home. But if you do decide that you want to invade this country, just remember, there are 40 million Canadians, including probably about 10 million of us who are capable of shouldering a rifle, chambering a round, squeezing a trigger, and sending that bullet downrange. 10 million of us who can do that. And we may not all have military training, but we can all learn how to put that round in a very small circle. Yeah. About the size of the tank commander's head that's popped up through the hatch. Yeah. About the size of the forward patrol that's leading the invasion party. The commander of that forward patrol and his number 2. Yeah. We can do that. And we can turn our beautiful cities into fortresses if we have to. We can turn our beautiful cities into fortresses. We can defend our country. We have a rugged landscape that is perfect for concealing infantry. So yeah, if you plan on invading this country, just remember that the loyalist militia is a thing, and we will defend this country. And you will find yourself being resisted by people with names like O'Connell and Donnelly, people with names like MacDonald, people with names like Berwick, people with names like Schonenborg, people with names like Sikorsky and Delano and Lemieux, people with names like Sanchez and Kyriakis, and people with names like Rashid and Hassan, to say nothing of people with names like Singh and names like Keobamba and Lao Fong and Takeshi and two-feather. Because Canada is a diverse country. And that diversity brings with it the sufficient diversity of thought to lead to a diversity of tactics and strategy, so that any invading army will find itself facing multiple different ways of defending a country, representing multiple different cultural ideas on how to defend a country. Because we are all Canadians, all of us. Regardless of our religious beliefs, regardless of our ancestry, we are Canadians. And if your Orange Messiah tells you to invade Canada and you want to live, you need to remember that you have relatives and friends and family on the coast of the Gulf of Mexico. And you need to go visit those friends and family and relatives. You need to be too busy with your friends and family on the Gulf Coast to take up arms and join in Mango Mussolini's invasion and annexation of Canada. Make him do it himself. Make him lead in person. Make him sit in the fucking first tank, if you can fit him into the turret. You might have to take the turret off. That tub of lard is pushing 400 pounds easy. Yeah. And he's not even that tall. He's maybe 5'10". He's about my height. 5'10", 400 pounds. That lard ball. That fucking lard ball. Oh, the birds are getting very aggressive. Yeah. But that lard ball needs to invade in person, in the lead tank. And if he orders you to follow him, just remember that you have relatives on the Gulf Coast that you haven't seen in a while, and you need to go visit them. And if you're too stupid to do that, well, come to Canada as an invader and we will hand you your fucking Darwin Award at 1,800 yards. Yeah. Yeah. To all the good Americans down there, you have my condolences on your really shitty government. Please, get a good president. Somebody good. Bernie Sanders is great. You should have elected him years ago. Bernie Sanders. I don't know why you didn't elect him. Good man, decent man, ethical man. Mistaken on many points, but willing to learn from his mistakes. Come on. Instead, you get people who are so full of themselves that they are not capable of even acknowledging that they can make a mistake, let alone that they have made one, and certainly they cannot learn from it. Seriously. Diaper Donnie? Twice! The fuck is wrong with you people? Yeah. But as I said, this is Canada. Welcome to Canada, eh? And this is a diverse country. This is a beautiful country. This is a peaceful country, which is to say it is a country that doesn't start wars. We don't pick fights with people. But being peaceful doesn't mean being a pushover. And if you come here looking for a fight, you'll get a fight. You will get a fight, and we will burn your presidential palace down again. And we will piss in your reflecting pool. Yeah. Something to think about. We will piss in your reflecting pool. All it takes is for you to actually be stupid enough to invade this country again. Yeah. Yeah. I like Canada. It's a good country. It's a peaceful country. It's a reasonable country. It's a diverse country. It's a country. It is its own country. And while we still retain close ties to Britain, we are a sovereign nation. And King Charles III, good old Charlie boy, he's more than welcome to come on up. Have a few beers. Enjoy the barbecue. Absolutely. Come on up. Enjoy the barbecue. Yeah. Diaper Donnie is not welcome. Although reasonable Americans are more than welcome to come and visit and enjoy the barbecue as well. Absolutely. Have a beer. Have a real beer. Not that piss water that you drink down there. Fuck. How do you call that beer? It's like vaguely beer flavored whatever. Yuck. Come on up, have some real beer. Come up and have some real beer. Yeah. Bring some bug spray because we've got mosquitoes. We've got a lot of mosquitoes. Oh, God, yeah. Yeah. But remember to respect Canada as a sovereign nation. Remember that in 2 world wars, we took on some of the toughest enemy units. And we taught them table manners. We taught them very good table manners. We taught them to respect and fear the Canadian military. The Canadian military being that force that basically all you have to do to win a war is dump a lot of beer in the enemy's capital and tell the Canadians that's where the beer is. We'll get there, and we will fuck up everything that gets in our way. Yeah. And then we'll go back to living our quiet lives at home because we don't like war. We don't. But if we have to do it, we'll do it. We don't like violence, but if we have to do it, we'll do it. We don't like conflict, but yeah, again, if we have to, if it's forced upon us, yeah, okay, all right. Let's break out the rifles. Let's go. Yeah. Welcome to Canada, eh? Yeah. Welcome to Canada. The great work in progress. A land of constant self-improvement and ever-changing weather. Yeah. And up until this morning, blistering heat. Oh, God, it's been hot for the last several days. It has been hot, yeah. But yeah, this is Canada. The country that has public health care, public education, public roads, public parks. Yeah. Where public services are considered a public good. And yeah, we have our problems. All countries have their problems. But we're working on it. Because this is a land of self-improvement. Where we honestly examine what we're doing and look at our mistakes and say, yeah, that's a mistake. We need to stop doing that. Where we fix our mistakes because we acknowledge our mistakes. And where we treat our neighbors decently. Because they are our neighbors, they are not our enemies. Yeah. A belated Happy Canada Day, and I think we're going to get a thunderstorm today. I could hear distant thunder in the distance, and the clouds are definitely saying storm. Oh, hello. There it is. Yeah, we've had a little bit of rain. We're going to get a lot more rain. So I'm going to let this video come to an end. Take care, be well, stay safe. Love yous all. Love yous all, absolutely. Yeah. Keep your rifles clean and safely stored. Hopefully we won't need them. Hopefully. But if we do need them, we've got them. Yeah. And to all my fellow Canadians, happy Canada Day, belatedly. To all my fellow Canadians, no matter what your name, no matter what your religion, no matter what your ancestry, to all of my fellow Canadians, happy Canada Day. And you are always, always, always invited to the barbecue. Absolutely. Welcome to Canada.